Hi there, welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today we're going to get jiggy, loosen up, move the body. As always, play where you're comfortable, modify if you need to, rest if you need to. You ready? Let's hit the mat. Today we're going to start off standing. You're going to come to a comfortable samasthiti, standing with your feet a little bit wider than hip width distance apart, towards the top end of your mat with enough room to lunge back. All 10 toes are looking to the front of the mat. Think of squeezing the energy between the inner thighs together. Stand up nice and tall, tucking your tailbone under, pulling your belly button in, dropping those arms heavy towards the floor as you find your first stance. Then bend at the elbows, bring the arms in front of you, stacking one arm on top of the other, maybe even holding onto the forearms. Keep reaching nice and tall through your elbow points. We're going to take a couple of dynamic twists to the left. Inhaling to prepare, exhaling to twist, inhale to come back. You're going to do that maybe 5 times. Just use your breath. Then let's do the same to the other side. Keep reaching nice and long through your elbow points. Keep that nice tall stance. Give me the longest spine that you can. One more. Come back to center and drop the arms so that they're just resting underneath your chest line. On a nice inhale, you're going to come into a tabletop line, floating the arms in front of you, almost framing your head between them, and just gently rocking the weight back and forth between the balls and the heels of your feet, giving me a nice tabletop line. Find your way back to standing. Maybe a nice big inhale. We can mix up the breath pattern. Exhale as you fold forward. Take a few breaths here, framing your head, gently rocking the weight back and forth. Find your way back to your standing frame. Nice big inhale. Exhale to fold forward. Reach long through those elbow points. Frame your head. Rock the weights between the front and the back of your foot. Inhale to stand up. One more time. Exhale to find your tabletop line. Long line through the neck, the back. Then come through your tabletop line, soften your knees, think chest to knees, and begin bending and extending through the legs while keeping your elbow points and the crown of the head nice and heavy to the floor. Just wake up that back chain of the legs dynamically. You're going to find your way from here into a down dog. Plant your hands onto the mat and step back into a down dog frame. Feet more or less hip width distance apart, hands more or less shoulder width apart. You're going to come into a hovering knee position and then back to your down dog and begin oscillating dynamically between the two frames. Exhale as you hit the down dog. Inhale as you come into the hovering knee position. Every time you hit that down dog frame, you're trying to bring the heels progressively closer to the floor. You're going to end for me in a kneeling position, but keep those toes tucked under. Peel up. Give me a nice tall stance so that you've got shoulders, hips, and knees stacked. Start with your hands, palms down on the top of your thighs. We're going to come into a little camel lean and we'll add a twisting motion to it. Take a big breath in. On the exhale, you're going to dip off the center line, floating the arms out in front. Let's do palms looking into the center line. Exhale to twist and reach. Inhale to come back, float your hands down, maybe keeping them just alongside your body. Exhale, dip off the center line, reach, twist, come back to center. You're going to keep playing with that movement, finding a beautiful rhythm of your own. As you dip off the center line, watch that you're not dropping your bum to your heels. So give me a nice stretch from the top of your knees, through the tops of your thighs, through the lower belly. Let's do one more to each side. Last one. As you come back to your high kneel, you're going to ease your way back into your down dog frame. Hold your down dog frame, but play with the weight in your feet. Bring it up onto the toes, and then try to anchor down through the heels. You're going to play with that movement dynamically, giving me a tiptoe position, pushing off all 10 metatarsals, and then trying to ground down through the heel. Keeping belly to spine the whole time that you're playing. You're going to end on the tips of your toes. Hold that tiptoe down dog, and let's bring it straight into an arching three-legged dog on the right. Soften the right knee, sweep, kick up the leg behind you, and then arch through the spine, almost making a little hanging scorpion tail behind you. Look over that left shoulder for that hanging foot. Get a nice little stretch into the lower belly. Make sure your core is braced. We're going to step through from here into a low lunge. So you're going to think knee to chest, step it through, swing it through, and try to step through to the inside of the right hand. If you find that foot gets stuck on the mat, just corral it, bring it forward, and then relax the back knee to the floor. Sweep your arms overhead. You can either tuck the back toe under, or you can relax the foot onto the mat, whichever you prefer. I'm going to go for the tuck under position. Get a little bit of work into that back leg. Think of framing the ears on either side and looking up towards the sky as you find Anyanye Asana, crescent lunge. Stay here in your low lunge or transition into a high lunge by bringing the back knee off the floor and floating the arms out in front of you. So it feels like you're in a lunge line, reaching for the wall in front of you. Now take a big breath in to prepare. And on the exhale, you're going to twist off center to the right, as far as you're comfortable, reaching along through both sets of fingertips. Pause here. Ease your way back to center. Find your low lunge line, and then bump your hips back, extending the front leg, toes peeling up to the sky, and almost think of wanting to sit back and stopping just shy of sitting back on your back heel. Sweep the arms behind, almost hollowing out your belly and rounding out your back as you come into a little hamstring stretch. Ardha Hanumanasana. And then from here, we're going to work a modified lizard line. Let's start with a straight front leg. So think low lunge. Drop your right hand to the inside, drop the left hand to the inside, and then maybe start by just allowing the front foot to fall open, so it almost feels like it's knife edging. And then just keep flapping the leg open and closed. Stay here, or you might want to try coming to a little bind. Maybe bump your hips back into that monkey guard stretch. Reach opposite hand to foot, and then bring your weight forward. Knife edging and grounding that front foot, just playing with the movement dynamically. Maybe holding for a few seconds if the body is receptive. And then we'll bring it from here into a side angle. And if you're feeling playful, you can bring it straight into a bind. Relax that back leg. Place the right arm on the inside of the right leg. Tuck the back toes under. Then think warrior two. Drop and anchor the back foot, either coming into a T-frame through the arms. And you could use a block if you need to support your frame, or maybe just lean into your lead leg, or bring it into a bind by relaxing the bottom arm, tucking it through the legs, bringing both hands behind the back, maybe giving me a little bear grip with the hands, dropping nice and low to the floor. Drop that pelvis down, open up beautifully. Give yourself a couple of relaxed breaths here. And then we'll think about using this line to come into a high pigeon line. So when you're ready, you're going to gently unbind. Think of squaring up in a lunge line, and then change the angle of the lead leg. Think of lining up the knee and the ankle either in a straight line or tucking closer to the perineum. Relax both the lead leg and the back leg to the mat. slide, walk, or creep the back leg away. Try to give me a nice high pigeon line, and if you feel like you're collapsing into the bum on the front leg, you can take a block. Use the knife edge portion of the block, just tuck it or wedge it underneath your bum and use it to give your frame a little bit of support. We're going to try a high bind to each side. So just finding a nice spider fingertip position, hands nice and wide, maybe a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. Then maybe creep your right hand over to where your left hand is, and then sweep the left hand back, trying to reach for the back foot. If you are binding to the foot, remember to keep this whole top back thigh nice and relaxed. So soft hamstring, soft glutes, soft quad, so you can just hug the leg in. Maybe just hugging it in gently, maybe even tapping it to your bum if the leg is receptive, to see where the body wants to be. Maybe holding for a few gentle binds, gentle breaths. And then if you feel like it, you can try the bind from the other side and see what that feels like. Come back into your original position on the mat. Look over the right shoulder this time, maybe keeping the left hand where it is, reaching opposite hand to foot, tapping that foot to your bum, or maybe just holding onto the foot, or you could use a belt or a strap to loop around that foot. Play with it. See where your body needs to be today. Work into those areas of tightness, gently loosening up. Then relax that leg down to the mat. If you do have a block underneath your bum, feed it out. We're going to come into a wide-legged down dog. So set up your back leg right on the outer edge of the mat, and then step the other leg back, coming into a nice wide V shape through the legs, and hold a nice little down dog stretch here. Piking the bum up nice and high. Lots of space between the two legs. Both feet are on the outer quadrant of the mat on either side. Pause here for a bit in your wide-legged down dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. And then maybe think about walking up in this wide frame to come into a modified Prasarita. You can bend the knees as much as you need to. Feet are still on the outer quadrant of the mat. You're going to gently hang forward and wrap around the inside of your legs to maybe wrap around the inside of the ankles, or maybe the inside of the calves, or maybe you're working higher up along the chain of the leg. Just make the crown nice and heavy to the floor. Maybe play with that soft swaying motion. And then maybe come into stillness with the weight bearing equal on the balls and the heels of your feet, and just chilling here for a bit. And then looking softly towards your feet, we're going to readjust, and we're going to come to a little gorilla Parahastasana. Maybe relaxing your hands to the mat. You're going to heel toe in. You can bend the knees if you need to. And you're going to give me more of a parallel stance so that the feet are stacking underneath your hip. Invert the palms and tuck them palm up underneath the feet. Preferably legs extended, or you can give me a modified bend and think chest and knees if you need to. You're going to softly rock the weight back and forth. Give those hands a nice little massage. Maybe pressing softly with your fingertips into some reflexology points on the base of your foot. And then when you're ready to come up, you're going to soften the knees. You're going to feed the hands out. And keeping those arms soft and drapey, you're going to ragdoll sway side to side, maybe allowing your fingertips to softly brush along the mat or the floor. Come to stillness along the midline in ragdoll style, leading with the back of your ribs with nice soft knees. You're going to peel up into a standing frame. Just think of trying to stack your body, shoulders, hips, knees, ankles, all in a long line, and make sure that your feet are back into your original position in a comfortable Samasthiti. Drop the shoulders away from your ears, tuck your tailbone under, start squeezing the energy between the inner thighs together. Bend at the elbows, find your stack, maybe holding onto the forearms. Nice big breath in. You're going to twist off center to one side and come back. Giving me maybe 5 or 6 mini twists. And try the same to side 2. Keep reaching nice and long through those elbow points. Maybe every time you come into the twist, trying to reach back a little bit further with that back elbow. And come to center and relax the hands, or rather the forearms, so that they're resting just underneath your chest line. Take a big breath in. On an exhale, come into a tabletop line, framing the head on either side. Play with that maybe 3 or 4 times. Maybe you want to play with the weight bearing in your feet as you come into the tabletop line. Maybe you'd like to just hold steady. Then soften the knees, come through the tabletop line, and begin to dynamically bend and extend through the legs, trying to keep your crown and your 2 elbow points as heavy as you can. Try to keep the weight bearing equal on the balls and the heels of your feet. You're going to find your way from here into the down dog frame. So when you're ready, plant your hands on the mat and step your legs back, feet about hip-width distance apart. Then begin dynamically coming into a hovering knee, tabletop position, and a down dog. Inhaling for the tabletop position, exhaling for the down dog. Every time you hit the down dog frame, see if you can get those heels to systematically come closer and closer to the floor. The back chain of the leg should already be quite a lot warmer than they were on the first round. Then ease your way into a high kneeling frame. Keep those toes tucked under. Peel up. Shoulders, hips, knees aligned. Arms relaxed at your side. We're going to play with a little Camel Lean twist. Exhale, peel off the center line. Give me a little off-center twist to one side, keeping that lean, and then come back to center. Maybe starting to use a nice active breath pattern. Maybe shooting for a shh sound, almost like steam escaping as you peel off the center line. Play with it. Just find a gentle rhythm that works for you. Make sure you're getting an awesome stretch into the tops of your thighs, into the lower belly. Let's do one more to each side. And then we'll ease our way back into the down dog frame. When you're ready, you're going to think of easing your way back into 4-point kneeling. Once you've found your down dog frame, you're going to begin playing with the heels, lifting them off the floor and then trying to ground them. Giving yourself a couple of repetitions here. Starting to wake up the Achilles, the calves, the whole back chain of the legs. In nice and high on the toes, and then come straight into a sweeping, arching dog. Sweeping the left leg behind you, throwing it softly behind you in an arcing motion, and looking over the right shoulder for that hanging scorpion tail of a foot. Pause here, getting a nice little bit of stretch into the lower belly. Make sure you're keeping your core gently braced. We're going to swing through from here into a lunge line. So you're going to think knee to hip, swinging through, taking a step to the inside of the left hand. You can creep the foot forward if you need to. Relax the back knee. Keep the toe tucked under if you can. Make sure you've got knee over ankle. You're going to float the arms overhead, making almost a soft crescent shape through the back as you find your crescent lunge Anyane Asana. And then seeing if you can morph from here into a high lunge line by peeling the back knee off the floor. Reach long through your fingertips, and then maybe on the exhale, take a soft twist towards and past your lead leg. Peel gently back to center. Find your low lunge, so relax the back leg, and then sweep back. So think bum to heel, extend the front leg, maybe peeling the toes off the mat, and stop shy of just sitting back on that back heel. Hollow out your belly, round out your back, and sweep the arms behind you, holding a little hamstring stretch. If you need to, you can keep all 10 fingers on the mat to support your frame. We're going to find our way from here into a modified lizard. Come back into your low lunge line through the legs, maybe dropping both hands to the inside of the lead leg. Maybe you want to just begin by knife edging and grounding the front foot. Maybe you want to come back into your hamstring stretch and you want to reach opposite hand to foot and then come into your lizard lunge and play with that dynamic open and close through the lead leg. So just see where you'd like to play. Then holding maybe steady for a few soft counts before you think of coming into a side angle, maybe with a bind. Relax that back leg, both hands on the inside of the lead leg. Tuck the back toe under, bring the knee up off the floor, and then think warrior two. So you're dropping and anchoring on the back foot, maybe opening up into a T-frame. Maybe you'd like to relax the bottom hand, feed it behind you, and then see if you can bring both hands to a little bind behind your back. Play where you're comfortable. Just try to get into those areas of tightness and loosen up. And when you're ready, you're going to gently unbind and you're going to set yourself up into a high pigeon line. So you're going to change the frame of the lead leg. You're going to bring that leg in, think knee and ankle, either in a straight line or tucking closer to the perineum. Relax both legs down to the mat. Slide, walk, or creep the back leg away. If you need to, take a block and use it as a little lean in for your lead leg. Find a nice pigeon line, and then we'll try a bind to both sides. Maybe let's start by creeping the left hand over, placing it where the right fingertips are, looking over that right shoulder for the back leg, reaching for that foot, maybe just holding loosely, or maybe pushing down and tapping the heel to your bum. Just see where your body wants to play today. Maybe holding for a few soft counts. And then maybe trying that bind to the other side. So finding your nice wide pigeon. Soften the back leg as you bend, reaching opposite hand to foot. And maybe tapping it to your bum or just holding loosely, or maybe just bending the foot, pointing toe to the sky. Maybe that's your jam for today. Hold. And then we'll find our way from here into a nice wide down dog. So as you relax the back leg, try to take it as wide as you can so that the foot is on the outer quadrant of your mat. Step both legs nice and wide and find your wide down dog, repositioning if you need to so that you're comfortable within your frame. Think of almost bleeding the head through the arms as if you wanted to tap your nose to your knee. Then use this nice wide frame to walk the legs up, and you can bend the knees as much as you need to. Just walk up gently, keeping the legs nice and wide, coming into a straddle position, wrapping around from the inside to reach maybe for the inside of your ankles or the calves, or maybe higher up along the chain of the leg. Just drop the crown nice and heavy. Maybe playing with the weight bearing in your feet. Getting a sense of where you need to hold the weight. Do you need to hold in the toes? Do you need to hold more weight in the heels? Maybe halfway is perfect for you. And then bleed your way from here into a gorilla line. Softening, maybe onto your fingertips. You can bend the knees if you need to. Start heel toeing the feet in, coming into more of a parallel line. Feet stacking underneath your hips, all 10 toes looking to the front of the mat. Tuck your hands, palms up, underneath your feet. As you come to Padahastasana, maybe gently just rocking that weight. Take a moment or two here, hanging heavy. And then when you're ready, feed the hands out, soften through the knees, and ragdoll style, keeping your fingertips soft and drapey. You're going to gently ragdoll sway side to side. And then roll up ragdoll style, leading with your back of the ribs as you restack and realign your body. We're going to run through a round or two of moon salutation, Chandra Namaskar. If you're on the tall side, take a step to the front of the mat so that you've got enough room to lunge back. You're going to find a comfortable parallel stance, all 10 toes looking to the front of the mat, tailbone tucked under, belly button pulled in. You're going to bring the hands together, but the palms are looking up to the ceiling as if you were holding an object in your hands. This will be your start for each round of Chandra Namaskar. Take a big breath in. On the exhale, come into a gentle back bend, maybe supporting your back. And then exhale to fold forward, but give me a big bend in the knees. Think chest and knees, palms up. And then roll back up into the back bend and begin moving dynamically between the back bend and the really soft forward fold. Chandra Uttanasana. The next time you come back, take a big lunge step back on the left. Then let both feet face towards the right, knife edging the back foot, finding a modified side plank. You're going to float the right hand overhead and behind you in a nice fluid-like motion. Somwa Chandrasana 1 and 2. Then pivot, face in the opposite direction and begin to dynamically side squat lunge. You can either keep it at about waist height, or if you're nice and open, you can drop lower to the mat. Don't be afraid to get jiggy. All right, let's face the back of the mat in a lunge line and then step it back into a plank. Then relax your knees, your shins and your feet. You're going to drop down into a puppy pose. So you're going to extend the arms on the mat in front of you, thinking belly relaxing to the top of your thighs and bum piking up slightly to the ceiling. Getting an awesome stretch into the shoulders. Think chest and chin to the floor. Drag your weight forward, finding your way into a soft cobra line. Either stand here, pushing off your forearms, or maybe play with the movement in a soft, undulating-like motion, lifting up one shoulder, dropping the other one, looking almost like little snakes, a little serpentine movement. Then ease your way from here into a down dog frame. Tuck your toes under, pike your bum up to the ceiling. Maybe you want to give me a soft rotational playful movement through the knees and the hips in Svananda, blissful dog. Then still your down dog and throw up the left leg behind you. Maybe reaching long through those toes as you find a three-legged dog. Change up the legs, kick up the right leg behind you in a three-legged dog. Swing, step up, come back to that soft forward fold, knees to chest, palms up. Peel up into a supported back bend, and then come back to your start position with the palms looking up to the ceiling. Let's do that again. Big breath in, find a back bend. Exhale to fold forward, and then begin moving between the supported back bend and that really soft, drapey forward fold. All right, the next time you come down, you're going to take a big step back with your right leg. You're going to find a lunge line. Then turn both feet to the left. As you do that, you knife edge your extended back leg. And then just start playing with that arm movement, bringing the hands in front, and behind you as you find Soma Chandrasana. When you're ready, pivot, face the opposite direction and begin your dynamic side squat lunge, Sahaya Ardha Malasana. Just keep those arms nice and soft. Find your way into a lunge line facing the front of the mat and step back into a plank. Ease your way into puppy. Relax your knees, your shins and your feet. Think of softening the arms to the mat, but make your belly heavy to the tops of your thighs as you think of trying to tap the mat with your chin and maybe your chest. Then drag the weight forward. Find your way into the belly. Set up a soft cobra. Maybe you want to play in that spontaneous cobra, Sahaya Bhujangasana. Ease your way from here into the down dog frame, and then maybe bringing it straight into some playful movement, giving me a soft little bit of rotation through the knees and the hips, getting the blood supply into those joints. Spin under, blissful dog. Then still up your dog, maybe pausing in the stretch for a breath or two before sweeping the right leg up behind you, giving me a soft toe today as you find Tripada Adho Mukha Svanasana, three-legged dog. Let's change it up and take it to the other side. Step up one leg at a time, stacking underneath the hips as best you can. Think soft bendy fold, palms up, chest relaxed to the top of your knees. Peel it up, come into your supported back bend, and then ease your way back to your start position. From here, we're going to find our way into a seated frame at the top end of the mat. Tuck into an easy sit. Let's start with the right leg in front of the left. Just sitting comfortably, cross-legged. Make sure that the weight distribution is equal on both bum bones. Sit up nice and tall. And then maybe place your fingertips on the mat in front of you and take it into a gentle fold. Maybe this means just walking your hands forward. Maybe you can connect your palms, or maybe your palms and your forearms to the mat. Or perhaps you need a block. Play with the dimensions of the block. Maybe finding a comfortable forearm stack position and just holding it. Find the fold that works for you and hold. Maybe pushing softly off your forearms, sinking the weight of your hips back, getting an awesome stretch into not only the lower back and the sacrum area, but also trying to stretch the ribs as you pull the weight back. Peel back up from here into a nice high seat. Keep the left leg bent, but extend the right leg. Sole of the left foot is on the inseam of the right leg. Come into a gentle forward fold. Maybe this means fingertips on the mat. Maybe you can reach around and grab hold of the foot. Maybe you'd like to use your trusted block to hook around the foot. Or maybe you need to use it as an inside prop and just fold forward. Do what feels good for you. Try to get a nice stretch into the back of the ribs so you're breathing as deeply as you can into the ribs. You can even play with that stretch, maybe crossing at the wrists if your range of motion allows for, as you think head to knee, Janu Sirsasana. Take a few generous breaths here. Keep belly to spine. Then when you're ready for a change of position, bleed up, leading with the ribs and tuck into a half lotus line. Reach for that extended leg. Take the heel of that foot and try to tuck it as close to the inside of the opposite hip as you can, resting the bridge of your foot on the opposite thigh and tucking into a half lotus line. If the half lotus line is not happening for you today, just come back into Sukhasana, sitting with one leg in front of the other. Take a big breath in. On an exhale, you're going to give me a gentle forward fold and come down as far as you're comfortable. If you need to use the block and modify, feel comfortable to do so. Just take a couple of generous breaths here. If you've made it onto the forearms in an almost sphinx-like modification, just push off your forearms, sink the weight of your hips back, Keep belly to spine. Take a couple of generous breaths here. Ardha Padmasana, half lotus. Then gently peel up. We're going to come into a heron pose from here. Reach for the foot, maybe wrapping your hands around the undercarriage of your foot, or maybe you'd like to take a big toe lock. You're going to extend that leg. If you need to, you can take a strap, holding it around the foot as you come into extension. Just give yourself a nice stretch here. Maybe taking your fingertips to the other hand, not too close to the body. Give yourself a little bit of room so that you can almost lean off the center line in a boat-like line and take a nice little stretch here in Krachasana. Then relax the lead leg to the floor, maybe coming back into that gate line. This time, keeping the big toe lock, relaxing your elbow to the floor, or you could take a block, place it on the floor, maybe just lean into the block. And then you're going to maybe sweep in a bowling-like action the top arm around to maybe hold onto your pinky toe, or maybe you'd like to just extend the arm and reach for the ceiling. Play with it, see where you need to be. Give yourself a couple of generous breaths here. Hold. Breathe as deeply as you can into the left side of your ribs. Then think of gently opening up from here into a wide seated straddle. Upavista Konasana, keeping the legs as narrow or as wide as you're comfortable. Give me a nice active brace into the feet. Make sure you're not hanging off the tailbone, so you're tilting the pelvis slightly to the 6 o'clock position. If you need to, you can take a block, feed it through so that you're almost sitting on the knife edge portion of the block, helping your hips to slightly tilt forward. You're going to give me a soft little forward fold, maybe just hands on the floor, maybe onto the forearms, maybe coming into full extension and relaxing down. Just play with it. See where you need to be. Remember, there's no right or wrong. It's just playing and discovering where your body wants to be today. Give it a nice soft fold. Give yourself a couple of gentle breaths here. Make sure that the feet stay active and your inner thighs stay active. Bleed your way from here back into a high seat and come into a butterfly by bending at the knees and bringing the soles of the feet together. Maybe you'd like to wrap around the toes or hold on to the ankles. Tuck the heels in as close to the perineum as you can. Relax the shoulders away from your ears. Make the knees as heavy as they want to be towards the floor. And just take an awesome stretch here in Baddha Konasana, butterfly pose. Give me a nice equal grounding through both bum bones. And then we'll run through that sequencing on side 2. Find your way back into easy sit, this time leading with the left leg in front of the right. Take a big breath in, drop your fingertips to the mat, and softly fold it forward. Use your block if you need to, maybe gently coming onto the forearms, pushing off the forearms, sinking your hips back, getting a nice stretch into the back of those ribs. Taking a few soft breath cycles here. And when you're ready, you're going to set up your Janu Sukhasana, head to knee. Keep the right leg where it is. Extend the left leg, maybe placing the sole of the right foot on the inseam of the left leg. You're going to gently fold forward, maybe just hands on the thigh, hands on the shin. Maybe you can bind to the foot. Maybe you'd like to cross at the wrists. Maybe you want to use a strap to see what works for you. Try to relax and make your chest and your nose as heavy towards the lead knee as is comfortable for your body today. When you're ready to peel up, set up your half lotus line by taking the foot of your extended leg, bend that knee, tucking into the half lotus line, making sure that the weight is even on both bum bones. And then just find your way into a gentle forward fold from here, using the block if you need to assist. Just come to a gentle drapey fold, pushing your hips back, breathing nice and deeply into the back of your rib cage, keeping belly to spine the whole time. Peel back up, coming into that gate-like line again. So sole of the right foot on the inseam of the left leg, maybe taking your middle index finger and thumb like a little crab pincer, reaching for the big toe, or maybe using a strap to bind around the foot, relaxing the left elbow to the inside of the left knee, and then in a soft bowling-like action, sweeping the right arm overhead, maybe reaching for the pinky toe of that foot, or maybe just reaching along through your fingertips, or maybe you'd like to forge more of a T-frame. Play a little bit, see what works for you today. Try to open up on the right side of your ribs, breathe nice and deeply. Open up those little spaces between the ribs. Then gently peel up and find your way into a wide straddle line from here. Tilting your pelvis to the 6 o'clock position, just gently fold forward. Maybe this means palms, forearms, maybe the body's nice and open and you can drop chest to floor. Just see where your body wants to be, but keep those feet active. So keep bracing actively into the feet. Keep those inner thighs working. Hold your straddle. Give yourself a few soft breath cycles here. And gently walk your weight back. Ease your way into your butterfly line. Bend at the knees. Bring the soles of the feet together in front of you. Maybe wrapping around the feet or the ankles. Tuck the heels in as close to the perineum as you can. Maybe pulling toes to sky, knees to floor, spine and crown to ceiling. Hold your butterfly. Give yourself a few generous breath cycles here. And then we'll end off today's class with a little bit of breath work. And I'll change my orientation on the mat. You can find your way into easy sit, leading with whichever leg is most comfortable for you. Take your block and wedge it underneath your bum so that it feels like you're sitting with your bum bones right on the edge of the mat. And it almost feels like you can tilt your pelvis to the 6 o'clock position and drop your knees to the floor. Either sit here nice and tall with one foot stacked in front of the other, or you can take the front foot and try to wedge the foot between the calf and the thigh. So just find a comfortable stance that works for you. Find the seat of your choice and just gently drop the arms at your side, palms looking up to the ceiling. You can do this with open eyes or with closed eyes. Take a long, lazy inhale for a slow count of 6 as you begin raising the arms overhead, filling your lungs, reaching long through those fingertips, maybe ending framing the ears on either side. And then exhale for a slow, lazy count of 6 as you drop the arms back to their start position. Let's do that again. This time we're shooting for 8. Big breath in. Then slow exhale for 8. And you can make the breath audible or inaudible. Your choice. Let's do that again. This time try to count for 10 as you raise the arms up. Exhale for 10. Let's do that again. This time let's shoot for 12. When you get to the end of your 12, just bring the hands together in prayer mudra in front of your heart, giving yourself a couple of relaxed inhalations and exhalation cycles, breathing equally, inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Give me gentle pressure between the two palms. Maybe start to allow the elbows to gently track out. Find a nice sense of grounding down through your bum bones into your block and giving me the longest spine that you can comfortably manage. Then thank yourself for making time to come out to play and to connect with your body and your breath. Namaste to you. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed today's class. Give me a thumbs up if you did enjoy. Remember to shoot me your comments below. Make sure your notifications for this channel are turned on and be ready for playtime on the mat. Till we meet again, keep it light.